Hello, 40k fans and players. Welcome back to episode 2 of Playing Warhammer for Free, where we show you how to play Warhammer using Roll20, Battlescribe, and Wahapedia. I am back with the marvelous Tron the Blacksmith from Warforged Dice.
Howdy.
And his Etsy link will be down in the description below. Today, we are going to be playing Adeptus Custodes. I will be playing Adeptus Custodes, and Tron will be once again playing his Necrons to test them out even further. The reason I'm playing Custodes today is I have this really old dice set that is Custode themed, so I felt the need to build them and play them, and also a lot of people recently have been saying that Custodes are pretty bad. So I wanted to test that theory and see how well they perform in a relatively competitive situation against Necron Wraith spam. So, for our mission objectives today, we have Sweeping Engagement for the deployment zone, Scorched Earth, so starting from turn 2, we can start burning objectives for some extra VP, and Minefields, so if we advance, if we roll a 6, we're going to be taking a Mortal, which I don't think will have a very big impact on this game today, but we'll see. So this is the map that we will be using. My list is fairly simple. This is what everything looks like after deployment. I have a Venerable Land Raider. Inside of it is Valerian and a squad of 5 Wardens, one of which with the banner. We have 2 squads of 3 Virtus Praetors, each being led by a shield captain on Dawn Eagle Bike, all with salvo launchers. I've taken an Imperial Knight Crusader as my ally, who's really just going to be sitting on the back objective as an artillery piece. But he is equipped with double Questoris Heavy Stubbers, Avenger Gatling Cannon, Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, and Heavy Flamer in the Storm Spear Rocket Pod. I also have a squad of 2 Alaris Terminators with Spears in Deep Strike. And I have taken an Amble as an ally, and he is also in Deep Strike. Tron's list is exactly the same as last time, but I'll quickly go over it. It's 3 squads of 6 Wraiths with Claws and Beamers, all being led by Technomancers, with 3 Canoptech Reanimators, 3 squads of 5 Immortals, 3 squads of 3 Locust Heavy Destroyers with Gauss Destructors, Emotech the Stormlord, who is going to be leading a squad of 5 Lich Guard, and I believe that is all. So we've already rolled to see who goes first or second. It is me. I will be going first. So we will show you what the board looks like after my turn. So here are the secondaries I pulled. Cleanse, I think I can score at least partially. Capture enemy outposts, I don't think I'm going to be able to score on turn 1 as I can't deep strike in anything anyway. There is an argument to be made that I could keep this to try and score it later, but I believe I'm going to discard it at the end of my turn for a CP. So we're really just trying to get some points with Cleanse here. So this is the end of my turn. I move these bikers over here behind this to do one of the 2 cleanses. Hopefully Tron doesn't have enough movement to just charge me outright. He may, but we'll see. And I move the Land Raider down here, and I have Valerian and his Warden squads just barely tiptoeing onto the middle objective, and they will be scoring me my second part of Cleanse. So I max out on Cleanse. I obviously didn't score Capture Enemy Outpost, so I discarded it at the end of turn for a CP. I moved the Imperial Knight Crusader over, and it shot over here into these red Wraiths, killed I think 2 of them, and took out a few wounds of the other. And I didn't go for this back objective. I decided to move these bikes behind this cover and wait to see if Tron will go onto this objective himself so that I can get the charge and not him. So at the end of my turn, I have 2 CP because I didn't use any CP during my turn. And I have 5 victory points because I score Cleanse. We will come back at Tron's command phase to show you what secondaries he gets, and we will go from there. Tron secondaries that he got were Storm Hostile and Extend. Kept both because essentially all he has to do is move some of his guys onto both objectives because the Wardens are OC4 and the Canoptek Wraiths are OC2. And he has enough movement to go both. So keeping both probably will score both. We'll show you what it looks like at the end. So Tron moved up in the north here, charged in, took this objective. Killed a bike. The bikes fought back, killed a few wraiths. Captain used his once per game to fall back. So he's got up here. He moved into the center, charged me, didn't kill any Wardens. Wardens fought back, killed a reanimator and a few of the wraiths. But we're still in combat, has a center objective. And he moved his bottom flank down here to take this objective marker. The Locust Heavy Destroyers shot at the Imperial Knight and these Virtus Praetors, so killed a Virtus Praetor. And now this Imp Knight only has 4 wounds remaining. So on my next turn, he's going to be popping his Bondsman ability and hoping he passes Battle Shock. But that is essentially it. Tron did score both Storm Hostile. He took 2 objectives away from me. And he controls his home objective still. And at least one of the No Man's Land's objectives, since Emotech the Stormlord is still right there. So he maxes out on secondary, scoring 10. So we will show you what my secondaries are on my next turn and go from there. So these are my secondaries. Storm Hostile should be relatively easy. My general idea is that I don't think I have enough resources right now to go for this bottom objective, so I'm going to try and condense everything I have into these top 2 to see if I can maybe clear them out. So that works well with Storm Hostile because I'll be able to take an objective. Investigate Signals isn't great. I don't have a lot of units in my army, which is one of the weaknesses of Custodes, so I don't really have anything that I want to throw away. I do have an Amble as an ally who can go back into Deep Strike during the end of Tron's next movement phase. So I'll probably put him into a corner to score Investigate, but it'll only be 2 VP, but I suppose 2 VP is better than no VP. So, but we'll show you what the board looks like after I'm done scoring, if I do score. So these guys moved over here with the help of the Imperial Knight who uses Bondsman ability. We cleared out everything on this top objective, charged into what was left, which was just really the Immortals, and killed everything on that objective. So that scores me my Storm Hostile. My Amble deep striked over here in this corner just to score me 2 points for Investigate. It's not going to do much of anything else. This Land Raider shot at these Locust Heavy Destroyers and killed them. And the real effort is here in the center. So Valerian squad, as well as these Praetors, charge into these Red Wraiths and fought them, but they got to reanimate during the shooting phase with the Awakened Dynasty stratagem, and then they also reanimated after the fight phase, or actually in the middle of the fight phase with the same strat. So Valerian and the Praetors could not kill all of them, but we did leave them with just 2 left. However, Immortals being OC2 means that I am out OC'd on this objective because these Virtus Praetors are 2 OC each, and this Warden is OC4, so I only have 10 OC, whereas Tron has 13 OC because these Immortals add up to 10, and this goes to 3. So basically, if Tron falls back, I won't be scoring primary for this, but which will deny me 5 points, because if he can kill my Imp Knight this turn, which he probably will with 4, I will only score 5 on primary next turn, not 10. Again, I didn't really touch anything down here. There's a lot of stuff on this bottom flank that I just don't think I have the resources to deal with right now. So I did just sort of ignore this to try and clear out the top. I still have some Alaris Terminators and Deep Strike, so I still have something in the can, and this little bug is going to go back into Deep Strike during the end of Tron's movement phase. But I do score 2 for Investigate Signals and 5 for Storm Hostile. So I have 17 victory points to Tron's 10, but Tron will score 10 victory points on his turn. So it's really more like 20 to 17 at the moment. But we will come back to show you Tron's secondaries and then we will show you what the board looks like at the end of his turn. So these are the objectives Tron pulled. Originally, he's had deploy Homer and engage on all fronts. Decided that deploy Homer would be too hard, so got rid of it for a CP, scored area denial. Decided to keep engaged to try and going to see if he can move up the board to get in position with like charges and stuff. And area denial will be easier to score if you can get the Virtus Praetors off the home objective. So we'll see where we go after that. So this is what the turn looks like after. Tron moved in here, charged into these Praetors, killed one, and then I got next pick on fight. So the Praetor and the captain fought into these red wraiths, and surprisingly killed them. I did use the captains once per game to fall back after combat. I know that gives Tron 3 points on area denial, but I'm going to try and move these guys over here in case I get like behind enemy lines or capture enemy outpost or something that requires me to be in his deployment zone. I think it's better they go over here. Plus their salvo launchers. Shooting is going to help take care of these Locust heavy destroyers because they are starting to clear out my backfield. My Imp Knight died, got shot by destroyers. The Land Raider thankfully lived, but did take 6 damage. And I used my CP to rapid ingress these Alaris at the end of Tron's movement because I was very aware that Imp Knight was going to die. So I wanted to still score my 5 on primary. So this is where we stand at the end of Tron's turn 2. And I will show you my secondaries next. So end of my turn 3. Kind of just set everything into the midboard. I got area denial and secure no man's land as my secondaries. So really, I had to hold 2 center objectives. I have this top one. I don't have this center one. And I don't have anything that was close to being down here. So I just sent pretty much anything I could into the center and hoped that it would stick. Valerian charged in with his squad, used Avenge the Fallen, and cleared out the blue wraiths, and then the immortals that were there got cleared out by these Virtus Praetors that charged in. So we maxed out on our secondary with area denial and secure no man's land for 10. And that honestly is pretty much it. Yeah, so one thing I did forget to mention. These guys up here didn't move down because I am currently having them burn that objective marker for Scorched Earth. So that's the end of my turn. We will show you Tron's secondaries at the beginning of his turn 3 and go from there. So there really wasn't a lot to say with Tron's turn. He got capture enemy outposts, which he kept, even though he can't really score right now, but there's not many other secondaries in that he can reasonably score as of this moment, aside from Bring It Down, Defend Stronghold, and maybe No Prisoners. Got Cleanse. Decided to keep it. What'd you say?
I got rid of capture enemy outposts.
I know, at the end of your turn. But with Cleanse, was able to pretty much move on this objective and take it because, like I've said before, I left this one untouched. Used the Locust Heavy Destroyer, shot at the Virtus Praetors and the Land Raider, killed the Land Raider, killed one of the Virtus Praetors. Captain is still alive. So, and at the end of turn, he did discard capture enemy outpost, didn't get a CP for it because Emotech is still on the board, and scored 3 for Cleanse. So, going into my turn 4, the score is 36-37. So we will show you my secondaries and go from there. So these are my secondaries. Defend Stronghold should be easy enough. I just have to keep my Alaris on my home objective, and I have deployed Teleport Homer. Thankfully, I still have an Amble and Deep Strike because he went back in there from last turn. So he'll be good. This is what the board looks like after my movement. We move this captain in. Got to deal with these Locust Heavy Destroyers. We move Valerian up, mainly just to keep him on the center. This objective marker up here is burned, so it doesn't exist. So these guys are moving down here to start to make a run for this home objective. And the Amble that I so graciously talked about is now down here in this bottom right corner. And he's going to be scoring me my deploy teleport homer. The best boy. So I will show you what the board looks like after this turn is wrapped up. So at the end of my turn, there really isn't much to say. The Amble did score me deploy, so I get 5. I'm waiting to just score, defend, and this captain just charged into those Locust Heavy Destroyers and cleared them off the board, and now he's consolidating onto this objective to be a little bit annoying. I haven't decided if I'm going to send the Amble back into Deep Strike at the end of Tron's turn, because I can do that one more time. I think I probably will, just in case I get something. But I'm gonna see where Tron's movement goes, because if I think he's not going to shoot the Amble with these destroyers, then I'm not gonna send him back. So, but yeah, I scored 5, and waiting to score 3 for defend. So that's me. We'll show Tron secondaries on his turn 4 and move on from there. So Tron secondaries are assassinate no prisoners, which is a pretty good pull on his turn 4, because I have woefully handed him the shield captain in his deployment zone. So yeah, we'll show you what the board looks like after he's done. Probably killing my shield captain. This is the end of Tron's turn. In case you're curious, he did kill the shield captain. So he got 2 for no prisoners and 5 for assassinate. And he tried to kill the Amble by shooting a destroyer at it. But that bug does have a 5-up field domain. So that is the end of Tron's turn 4. Currently scores 57 to 53 before my turn. So we're going to go into my turn 5. Show you the secondaries. And we'll see where we go. So obviously I score extend because I'm on the center and I'm on my home objective. Didn't actually kill Emotech, funnily enough. Looking at here. Charged into him. Killed all his Lich Guard, but he did reanimate after my shooting phase and was resilient enough not to die. He lives with 2 wounds. And he killed one of my bikes in response. So don't score assassinate, do score extend, which is the last points I'll score for the game. So I finished with a score of 75. I'm just going to discard assassinate for a CP so that I can have it to maybe reroll a save or do something defensive during Tron's turn in case he gets some kill-based secondary. But that is the end of my turn 5 and my final turn. So we will go into Tron's turn 5 to see how he closes us out for this game. So, Tron's last 2 secondaries were Bring It Down and Investigate Signals, but there are no monsters or vehicles on Bring It Down, and I think it's a little unfair that Engage on All Fronts has a thing on it that says, if this is impossible to score, get rid of it, and Bring It Down doesn't. So we just got rid of it. And then he pulled Defend Stronghold. We looked at the secondaries that were left in the deck, and they were Behind Enemy Lines, Secure No Man's Land, and Overwhelming Force, all of which being more possible than this by a long shot. So spent the CP, got rid of defend. These 2 would have been the more ideal because these were both just move to location and score, but we did get overwhelming force. So we're going to score 2 for investigate, another 5 for having the immortals on the objective, because this Canoptech Reanimator here can move into this corner and score investigate. So really the only thing we're looking for is to see whether or not these immortals and Emotech can kill this Virtus Praetor, because then he will kill a unit and he'll score 3 for overwhelming. So we're going to go roll some dice, and I will show you if Emotech can manage to kill a single Custodian on a Dawn Eagle bike. So, as you can imagine, one of the bikes got killed by Emotech. But the captain, who, by the way, they failed nearly every save against Emotech, but the captain did live with 3 wounds and fought Emotech back, but that was enough for Tron to score overwhelming force. And he moved his reanimator into this corner sat in this objective. So on his last turn, he scored 10. It's a pretty close game. But final score was me with 75 to Tron with 68 points. So that was a pretty good, close game. GG's all around. I feel as though that game was a lot more fair than the last one we played. I don't know if that is much of a showing of just how good the Space Wolf sort of Stormlance Task Force detachment meta is right now, or if that's a showing of how much more balanced and fair literally any primary mission is in comparison to deploy servo skulls. I will say that the 5 points that I got from Scorched Earth didn't matter because I won by 7. So I'm starting to think that doing the burning of the objective in Scorched Earth is irrelevant unless you're burning your opponents. Because I feel as though every single time I've burned an objective with Scorched Earth, it just didn't matter. But that was a much closer and a much more telling of a scenario and much more satisfying, I think, for both me and Tron than the last game was. To speak on the balance of Custodes, I can understand kind of why people think they're not very effective. A lot of my stuff, a lot of my resources died quite fast. I only have 3 units left on the board at the end. Valerian is really good at keeping his squad alive, but everything else does kind of die from any like relatively high damage combo. I think this matchup was more of a telling of Tron's list being a bit more focused on melee than shooting. I think if I had fought a more shooting-heavy army, I don't know how long I would have lasted, but the melee aspect of the Wraiths and everything kind of just didn't pair well with the Wardens, because with this style of Necron list that Tron has, it's really just throw the Wraiths at your opponent and laugh as they try to deal with them. But in this situation, it was more like the Custodes having a fun time killing Wraiths, if that makes any sense. I do think that it is a bit disappointing that the only detachment that's really worth your time is the Shield Host one, because the other ones are just not good, blatantly, and this one is clearly the best option in comparison to the others. Being able to crit on 5-ups and all of your melee weapons getting a static +1 AP excuse me, it was really good. So thanks for watching. Warforged Dice will have its link down in the description below, and excited to see you next time.